Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are y'all doing? Welcome to Cliff Notes Live, episode number, I don't know, 218 or so. That could be completely wrong, something like that. But welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Welcome to March. Year is going so fast, which I don't mind. We've got Survivors kicked off. We've got Amazing Race coming up. We got Big Brother casting. It'll be here before we know it. Reality season is in full swing. So we'll talk about that a little bit. We may talk a little bit Mardi Gras as well. Busy times down here. We've got Mardi Gras going on, which is more Louisiana, but we do our share of it down here as well. And we've got rodeo starting tomorrow. So yeah, busy times. All right, I should start off with the very beginning, but let me start off with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV, and I love you guys who hang with me every Monday night. And those of you watch it on replay as well. Always makes for a fun start of the week. I can get here, look at all the comments and chat and answer a few questions. Probably tell a few stories. Probably go a little too long with a few of the stories I tell, but y'all know me by now, right? So welcome to all of y'all. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, turning on notifications, and then maybe hit the old thumbs up while you're at it as well. Yeah, welcome aboard. And I haven't done Gato one yet, like Jackson Vicky did with Julie Chen. So this is my show. And yeah, I was very surprised to see Jackson out there. I don't know if y'all saw it. Julie Chen during off season does. I think it's called God 101. So a podcast, very religious focused and all that. And I knew Jackson was had talked about that a little bit as well. So she brought him on. I think it surprised some people. But yeah, I'm glad to see him at least getting a chance to talk. I haven't watched it yet. I need to see if he says anything about me. But no, I'm glad that he got a chance to come on and talk about what his was like. He had a new baby. Getting a wife and children can change the way you view the world in a whole lot of ways. So anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit if y'all want as well. Let me go out and see who all's out here. And then we will get right into it. And let's see what y'all got on y'all's mind. So much reality TV going on. All right, let's see. Kennedy Franken. Normally I don't read all the comments, but Kenny, I'm going to do yours. Good job is going amazing. I'm loving it. So glad I chose to leave my other job. I made the right decision for sure. Well, congratulations. You know what? Sometimes you make a decision and afterwards you look back and you say, maybe it wasn't the best decision. Sometimes you know it was the right decision, but you know what? Either way, don't be afraid to take risk in life. I get called out sometimes, a lot of times, for some of the decisions that I made during the game of Big Brother. Some good. Some people think some of them not so good and all that. But you know what? You can't worry too much about what you did. You do the best job you can and you go for it. And Kennedy, I'm so excited for you. Thank you for updating me as well. So congratulations, my friend, for taking that risk, and that's paying off. All right, let's see who else we got here. Mark, how are you, sir? And yeah, we're going to talk about all kinds of shows. Mark, Marilyn Sutherland, Brian Hostel. Brian, how are you, sir? Karen Loveland, Michelle Moore, Desiree Watts. Desiree, how are you doing? Ed out here as well. Ma, how are you doing, my friend? Karen Hummer, Colleen, Cindy Hire as well. Cindy, howdy. Let's see. Y'all got all kinds of conversations going on. We'll see if I can't jump in on some of those. Paul Long, Paul, howdy. Let's see. Oh, y'all are just talking away. And if because of that I miss any of these names, I am sorry about that. I think that's about it. Wyatt Garrett. Wyatt, howdy. Hope you're I know you're having fun doing all kinds of fun stuff. Andy W as well. Hey, Andy. Audrey Cobb, Jane Haven, Patricia Miller, and I think we'll call it right about there. I hope I got it. Oh, and Tracy Muckenfuss. I wouldn't want to forget you, Tracy. Lots of folks out there. So again, thank you very much. All right, a few questions as we get right into it. So many shows to talk about. Audrey Cobb is saying Survivor is back. Yeah, it is. And Mark Taylor said, what do you think of Survivor in its first week? Any favorites? That girl deserved to go home. It's hard. The first week or two is where I really wish we got more. I know it was 2 hours, so we got 2 hours of Survivor, but I don't really feel like I know these people that well yet. I couldn't tell you what most of the names are. It's hard, especially the tribes that were safe. He didn't get a lot of screen time and all that. It's a little hard for a while. Yeah, let me say this first of all. There will be some spoilers mentioned on here. I don't know how to avoid it. So spoiler alert for Survivor right off the bat. Yeah, I like the first season. I tell you what, it's not that I didn't like that marooning event or whatever. The first event they always do before they ever even go to their tribes and all of that. I get it. And I don't mind doing the contest, but it seems like it's the same contest every single season. Run under the nets and then go up a ramp and carry something heavy. I don't know. I wish they'd stir it up a little bit, change it up a little bit and do something a little out of the ordinary for that first event, just to throw people off their game a little bit. But it is what it is. It's still a fun way to see who's there to really go full speed and compete versus the ones that you kind of wonder about. I felt so sorry. Is it Kevin, the guy who dislocated his shoulder? Apparently, now they didn't show it in the episode, but apparently I read some after stuff conversations. Apparently he really hurt his shoulder badly to the point that the medical team had to come out and pop his shoulder back into position. Oh, that sounds miserable. You always see on the shows where they snap it. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, I'm sure it feels better after it's in the right position. I've had shoulders issues once or twice. It's just the worst feeling you can have in the world. So yeah, apparently his injury was a lot worse. And then he has to go off on his own and try to win an advantage for his tribe. And you think he's going to do it. He's the one, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's the one that actually broke his big glass bottle that he was trying to fill up. And as soon as he did that, it's over. He's done. He can't compete anymore. You know what that reminded me of when that broke? I don't know if I've seen that on Survivor before, but it reminded me of Michael on Big Brother, the comp beast, winning everything. And then they had that one competition where his little belt with the cable attached pulled off, broke off, something happened. I feel like he kind of got the short end of that one. But he was out in the same way. So yeah, it was kind of tough. I felt sorry for him. Injuries and not doing well right off the bat, and really and then you have to go back to your tribe and tell them all of this happened, knowing that there's going to be people who probably don't believe you. They think that you won some kind of advantage, even though you haven't. And how do you convince them otherwise? It's tough. I will say this. Was it last year? Asia was volunteered to go out and do the little challenge on her own. And at the time, I wasn't so opposed to it. I thought, well, go prove yourself and all that. After watching them last season, again this season, there is no way if I went on Survivor that I would volunteer to be one of the first people to go off. Now, the difference is, I think last year you had 2 people that had to go off and do a challenge, and then you had 4 people sticking around. So at least there it's 4 and 2. This season, 5 people sticking around camp, getting to know each other, bonding with each other, and 1 lonely person who has to go off on their own. There is 0 chance that I would volunteer to do that, because by the time you get back, I feel like it'd be too easy for the other 5 to already have said, yeah, hey, we know our first target. Yeah, let's make it easy this week. Now, maybe you convince them otherwise, but you're starting from a bad position when you do that. So, yeah, don't ever volunteer to do something like that if you go on the show. The other thing I'll say, I can't remember. I don't know what his name is. I think he's on the Green Tribe. They're all covered in mud. You couldn't even tell that, but a rather portly gentleman. We'll say it like that. Someone that looks somewhat similar to me, having to get up that ramp at the end of the first challenge, covered in mud, slick. This ramp is just almost a straight up wall. 2, 3, 4 smaller folks trying to pull this guy up. I felt so bad for him because I could so easily put myself in the same position as he is. Forget dislocating my shoulder early in the comp. I would be trying so hard not to let my team down. I would be crashing full speed into that wall, trying to get up the top, and who knows what kind of injury I would have done on that. Yeah, it's tough. All right. So that's all the beginning. We'll talk some more about Survivor in a second. We'll say, Brian's saying, did anyone catch Jeff falling during the last challenge? Jeff Probst. I didn't see it till later. I saw a little clip on Instagram. You know, he's he's a little different than Julie Chen, right? Julie just comes in on Thursday and gets a little recap of what us knuckleheads have been up to, and does her thing. Do you really think she sits at home and watches the feeds 24/7? I'd love to think so, but I just don't see that. But Jeff's out there right in the middle of it. Yeah, and you can see the background of one scene. I think it's while they're carrying those big heavy boxes. He looks like he takes a face plant behind him. He's done. You know who else does that? Phil Keegan on Amazing Race. He used to film just kind of standing there talking. Now there's a lot of times while people are doing challenges, he's standing behind them giving some narrative. So very much involved in the thick of it, those two. But yeah, Jeff looks like he paid his own price for he cleaned up pretty nice, right? But yeah, I did see that as well. Yeah, go ahead, get everyone involved in the game. Show how serious you are about the game. Who's that? I can't see. Tracy's saying, wish the fire challenge first this year. Always interesting and entertaining. Yeah, that's actually kind of a cool idea. That would have been neat to see who was prepared. When you say fire challenge, I assume you're maybe talking about fire building challenge or something. That would have been cool to test people's survival skills coming in. In fact, and I don't know if that's what you meant, Tracy, but now you got me thinking of how cool would it be to have the first challenge of each team has to make fire. I don't know what else, cut open a coconut, do some stuff that they do as part of a tribe. And are you at that point going to show that maybe you're a big threat, that you know how to do all that stuff and do it quickly? Or are you going to maybe pull back a little bit and make it not look like you're quite the expert because that makes you a bigger threat? I think you've got to go for it, right? You're helping your team. You're trying to get rice. You're trying to keep those fire making supplies. So I think you got to go for it. But it would really reveal right off the bat who was good and who wasn't so good at some of the challenges. They don't have anything to do with puzzles and crawling under nets, but true survival, true survivor. That'd be kind of cool. I'm going to push that one of these days. All right. Tyson 1000 saying, I'd wait until after a couple of votes until I got on a journey. It's bad to go early on. I agree. Once you've been there for a little while and you feel like you've got some connections, some bonds, then if you volunteer to go, you can always put it out there as, hey, I'm gonna go do it because I think it's gonna help us guys that are in this little group. So yeah, I'm gonna do what I need to do. Then you can justify it. But if you do it before you've even had a chance to bond with anyone, no one, I think, feels like they can trust you. They're all going to be suspicious of what you do or don't have, what you've committed to, that you've now made friends with at least someone from another tribe. It's just a lot of landmines with that particular kind of operation. So yeah, that's tough. Let's talk about the end of it. Do y'all think the right person went home? I mean, I feel like Stephanie probably kind of deserved. She really took it upon herself. She played the shot in the dark so early, and really, I feel like she did way too much of offering herself up as a target, because this early in the game, I mean, maybe it wouldn't have made a difference, but I feel like when you're just saying, I know I'm a target. I know I did things to put the target on my back. You might as well just be throwing yourselves to the wolves when you do that. I think she was a little too eager to heap the blame on top of her. The other woman, y'all tell me, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correct. Sia, I think she was playing the game very hard. I really thought the edit was showing her burning out early. Picture Frenchie from HOH week 1, the way he played Big Brother. I felt like she was playing Survivor very similar, trying to do way too much. She was getting irritated because some of the other ladies on the tribe didn't seem as concerned about talking strategy every possible waking moment. Yeah, I get that, because I remember in that first week at the Big Brother house, feeling like I'm under a little bit of a threat and needing to work with people. But sometimes working with people doesn't involve talking game at all. It just involves learning who they are and being empathetic. I remember Bella sitting on a bed in the back room, not real happy because her family wasn't happy she was on the show, and feeling like she hadn't done some things that she thought they wanted her to do. And it didn't have anything to do with playing the game. It just had to do with being there and saying, man, I'm sorry, but be proud of yourself, be proud of everything, and just trying to be human with someone else. Sometimes you have to do that. And that means a lot more than any game talk that you can take. But I really thought she was being shown an edit of something different, which gets back to what I said at the very beginning about the difference between Survivor and Big Brother. Survivor, you just see such a short edit, and they're editing this. I assume the edits occur after they know who won, who's going to last a long time, and all that. So I'm always a little suspicious. I always have that conspiracy theory going on in my head of, why are they showing this versus something else? What part of the story is this showing? So it kind of leads you down paths that may or may not be valid. Whereas with Big Brother, when you're watching the live feeds, you don't know because they don't know when they're watching the casual conversations and everything. So they do just different shows, different situations. All right, Ticeman 1000 saying maybe offer the losing team a chance to make fire to earn back their flint. Would be fun to watch. I agree with you. I'm really didn't think about it until we started talking. That's why I love hanging with you guys on these Monday nights. I hadn't thought about it, but I would like to see more challenges, not just at the very end with the fire making challenge, but throughout the whole season. Let's do less of the puzzles and more of building shelters, starting fires, catching. I don't know. There's all kinds of things. And remember, they used to do that. Was it the All-Star seasons? The first All-Star season, I feel like, where they had to build shelters, and whoever built the best shelter won immunity. Whoever built the worst didn't. I just remember Rupert wanted to build a shelter. I think it was Jerry in there with him, wanted to build a shelter deep, submerged in the beach. He said, why would you have it low where the water comes in? It was horrible, but they've done that. They've had challenges in the very early days of Survivor about who could create the best signal to attract someone's attention. A plane flew over and said, oh, that person did a good job, that one didn't. Do some things that get back to the supposed idea of Survivor, that you're trying to survive out on an abandoned island. You're a castaway, and you're trying to make the best of a bad situation. I'd love to see challenges that are focused on that, and not just everyone being run down the ramp, untie a bunch of knots, hit it with a machete, things like that. I'm ready for a little shakeup. Having said all that, I think the cast so far looks like they're going to be a fun cast. They always do a good job with Survivor. Last season, incredible cast. Thank you, Jesse Tannenbaum, who does the casting for it. Incredible cast. I expect it'll be the same this year. All right, Cindy is saying she'll be the next target. I think you're right. But here's the other deal. You can be the biggest target on the entire island, and as long as your tribe is winning, or at least not losing, you can be safe for a long period of time. It's easier to hide, I think, on Big Brother. Well, let me put that different. Sometimes it's easier to hide on Survivor. You can go multiple weeks, which in Big Brother time or Survivor time equates to a couple of days, it seems like. But you can go a long time and not have to go to tribal council and see, who push comes to shove, who really is supporting each other. Whereas with Big Brother, you don't have that. If on day number 1, if you don't win that very first HOH, you're up. I mean, you're potentially up. There's no hiding in Big Brother at all. So in some ways, I feel like it's easier to hide on Survivor. But from the other side, the other viewpoint, I guess, with tribes of only 6 people, if your tribe is at risk, you're thrown into the game a whole lot faster than you are Big Brother. I never could fly under the radar under Big Brother. It's not me anyway, but I just, the old guy and the loudmouth and all that. But there were people in Big Brother who could certainly float halfway through the season because of the format of that game itself. But I agree with you, Cindy. I do think she'll be the next up. Is it the Green Tribe? Again, I don't know. If the tribe that hasn't been doing so well doesn't get to be a little bit better. And we didn't see. Y'all tell me. I mean, I guess, was it, I don't know if it was random pick of who got on what tribe. They were already paired up before they got there, wearing the color clothes of their tribe and all of that. So I assume, now I don't know if off camera someone made a random draw before they ever got on the boats, or did production just, I have a feeling production just has certain people they want to be on the same tribe together just because they think they'll either work well together or work horribly together. I do wish we got to see a little bit more randomness in terms of how these tribes are picked, because I'm not sure this season if the tribes are as balanced as I sometimes see on other tribes. Of course, it's early. There may be some brilliant strategists or puzzle solvers, things like that will come out a little bit later. They're just shaking the nerves out at this point in time. All right, Marilyn Sutherland saying it's amazing. Oh, is Amazing Race on yet? No, it's not. I think we're Colleen saying love Amazing Race, and Mark saying, are you going to cover Amazing Race? Yeah, that'd be fun. Amazing Race starts Wednesday as well. Okay, I knew it was coming up. Am I going to cover it? Gosh, I really, really want to, especially now that I've heard that next season could have some Big Brother folks in it and all that. I would like to. I don't know yet. It's busy. I still do my 9 to 5. And here's the thing. When I cover Big Brother during the summer, it's because I feel like I have some opinions to offer and some insight that people may find interesting, right? Amazing Race, there's some folks out there that cover it and all that they've been on the show and all. And so I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm leaning towards probably not covering it, except on the show's Monday night shows. I hope y'all want to talk about it a lot because I plan on it. Love Amazing Race. Absolutely love it. Just all the traveling everywhere. But yeah, all right. So that's coming on Wednesday. Coming up. Yeah, I'm ready for it. Yeah, we got that. I got caught up on my Joe Schmo show last night. That's on the TBS app. For those of you who don't know or have heard me talking about it, you have to actually go out, I think, and download the TBS app on your Fire Stick or Roku or whatever. And then if you do that, you can go out and watch the Joe Schmo show. And I think they're down to one or two episodes left. It's getting right into it. All right, let's see what else we got on here. Ty Smith saying, watched Extracted. It's really good. I love that show. There's some shows that just capture my imagination that I sit there afterwards think, what would I do and how would I do? I did it with Big Brother. I did it with Survivor. On Extracted, I can only picture me being out in the woods and my family trying to decide how miserable is too miserable to let me stay in the game. And it's easy while we're sitting here in nice AC driven. Well, some of y'all may have your heaters on. AC down here in Houston, sitting here in a nice indoor environment where you're not hungry, you're not worried about bears eating you in the middle of the night. It's easy to say I'd never quit. Never, ever, ever, never quit. When you're actually out there, I understand. I get it. I absolutely do. But it blows me away. These shows, Extracted, Alone is another show that I watch all the time. Naked and Afraid. A lot of the times it's not the conditions. A lot of times it is the conditions that drive people to quit. But a lot of times it's just the mental stuff. It's just the mental loneliness and feeling like you don't have anyone to bounce ideas off of or someone to give you a warm shoulder when you just need to take a break and have someone else comfort you. You don't have that. And I remember that in the Big Brother house, times where I thought, God, if I just had my wife and kids with me, just stand at the window. I'd look like the loneliest person, the saddest puppy dog looking out that window, seeing my family out there jumping up over the fence and seeing them. Just for a few seconds would have made the difference, all kinds of difference, which is why winning that HOH I did and getting that letter was so special. It was a little connection with home. But yeah, it's hard, those shows. It's a true mental challenge on these outdoor shows, watching them try to survive. And some people just can't do it. Now, I guess I need to say spoilers on Extract. I'm saying spoilers on everything. Spoiler. They had to swim across a very cold lake or build a raft and go across a lake, right? And y'all know me. I've talked about I can't stand cold water. But once I'm in the water, I think I would have been Lord, I would have looked like the second coming of Christ, because I may not have been touching the water. I may have just been skirting across the top, running so fast to avoid that water. But yeah, it's hard when you start getting numb from everything and trying to make it across. There was one person who said, I'm not even trying. He said, yeah, I'm not messing with that. He didn't get food as a result. But on the other hand, he didn't get hypothermia either. So, we'll see how it all turns out. Yeah, I'm loving Extracted. All right, Tracy McInfuss is saying, ready for Big Brother? Yeah, this is kind of my hibernation time. I guess winter time was. It's easy. those first few weeks of Big Brother with the live feeds, there's so much going on. Trying to take all of these conversations, I take all these notes, I stay up watching this stuff. I have all my notes, and I get done and say, "Oh my God, how am I going to cover this in 20 minutes or so with as much that went on?" So then I have to selectively pick and choose what I think is important versus not important. Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I feel like I'm right more often than I'm wrong, because I feel like I know the important stuff to talk about. But yeah, those first few weeks are rather crazy. You're still trying to figure out everyone's names and everything. But am I ready for it? I'm so ready. I'm ready for the cast reveal. I mentioned the fact that we've got Mardi Gras starting tomorrow, Tuesday. Mardi Gras. Mardi is French, I guess, for it's also Martes for Spanish, but Mardi is Tuesday. Gras, I believe, is fat or big. So Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday. It's the beginning. Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent and all of that. So, Catholics are supposed to then chill out for 40 days until Easter comes. And so that's a whole background of Mardi Gras. But that starts tomorrow. Actually, it's been going on for the last week and a half with parades and stuff. But I don't know where I was going with it. Oh, with Big Brother. Also tomorrow, the Houston Rodeo starts. I was mentioning that because when I tried out for Big Brother, it's because Sharon and I know I've said this on everywhere, we are going to a barbecue cook-off that's part of the Houston Rodeo. And so I was already kind of in a, not just dressed very much as Texan as I could possibly be, but also very much in a Texas kind of attitude. Going to the rodeo, eating some barbecue, listening to country western music, drinking some Shiner beer. You don't get much more Texan than that. So that's the attitude I had when I showed up at the casting call for Big Brother. And I think that showed through. And so, yeah, I'll never now think about the start of Houston Rodeo and the barbecue and all that without thinking about, just hanging out in front of a couple of producers. And next thing you know, I'm doing wild and crazy stuff. I'm hanging from a wall in Burbank, California. How incredible is that? All right, Jane Haven is saying, howdy from Northern Virginia. Well, howdy, Northern Virginia. Is that the like the DC area and everything? I think so, isn't it? Maryland, Virginia, DC in between the two. Howdy. Welcome aboard. We have a fine old time here on Monday evenings. I've been kind of Virginia. I've been to Alexandria. My kids both went to Washington, D.C. at various times, and I was one of the parent escorts for the school trip, and we stayed in Alexandria and saw all the sights and did all the crazy things that you do in DC. Craziest thing is to try to get on the metro system in DC with about 40 or 50 sixth graders. It's like herding cats, trying to keep them all in one place and make sure none of them wander off, get on the wrong train and all of that. But we did pretty well. The only ones we lost were the ones that wasn't that big a deal. And just kidding, we didn't lose any of them. But welcome aboard, Tracy. I'm glad to have you here. All right, let's see what else. Ken T is saying, breaking news: Dolly Parton's husband of 60 years has passed away. Oh, I hate to. 82 years old. Prayers to her family. I hate to say it. Yeah, he was not ever too much in the spotlight, right? I'm sure he was just a very private individual, and Dolly just didn't have that privacy gene, did she? That's a shame. I gotta say, you watch these people, and there's so many celebrities that have their flaws that the whole world gets to see. I don't know, some that you just aren't as wholesome sometimes as you hope that they would be. Dolly Parton is one of those. Heaven help us if we find out that there's some horrible, horrific something that she was ever involved, because I just don't see it. She's just such a wholesome, great, fantastic individual. She's donated so much money to different causes. You never hear about it. And she's a special person. I saw, God, this probably ages me horribly. I saw a video. Why did this pop up on my Instagram? But it did. A couple of weeks ago on Instagram of Dolly Parton performing with all of her family. I don't know, she must have 20 brothers and sisters, a lot of family members. They came from the Smoky Mountains and all that. So, it's a little more larger families over there. But she had a lot of siblings, and they're all playing together. And it was kind of fun watching her, because she's still just beaming the way she does. But at the same time, she you can see her enjoying singing with all her family and all of that. And gotta say, they all kind of had that same look with each other. Yeah, I've grown up on Dolly Parton, her and Porter Wagner. I'm gonna age myself horribly. I'll just leave that. I'm a huge fan of Dolly Parton, and yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to her. That's rough. I don't know how long they've been married, but a long time, right? It had to be a long time. So, well, sorry about that, but yeah, that's a shame. All right, what else do we have on here? Doctor Bose, how are you, sir? I hear you. Heard you mention conspiracy theories. We need to talk about the flat Earth. All right, Doctor Bose, you're just gonna push my buttons, aren't you? I will say, during my travels around the oil field, around the world a few times, I've literally done trips around the world a few times. So I don't remember. Now, I did sleep a little bit while I was in the airplane, but I don't remember crossing any dark plains of nothingness going from Tokyo to San Francisco on the way back or anything else. Yeah, I think the Earth has got a decent. I think I'm somewhat comfortable about the somewhat globular, circular volume of the planet Earth. But if not, I want to find out who's on the other side. If it's flat Earth, I want to find out who the antimatter or the anti-cliff person is on the other side of. Do I just drill straight down? Is that the way I get there? I used to, as a kid, truly believe. Now, maybe I wasn't super old, but I truly did believe if you dug far enough down, you could pop out on the other side. That's what our parents told us, right? I always imagine there's some other kid on the other side of the world that was already halfway there, and I was letting them down by not doing my own share of digging. I'd usually get about 6 inches in, figure out that he was just going to have to do the work on his own. I wasn't that excited about meeting the kid on the other side of the world. Well, Dr. Bose, I'm glad you're here. Conspiracy theories or not. I'm not a big into the conspiracy theories. I'm sure that we'll find one or two somewhere down the road, but you want to talk conspiracy theories, talk to Kat Dunn. She'll fill you up on the conspiracy stuff. All right, Chaz is saying, hey Chaz, how are you? I think I speak for all of us when I say we love to hear your insights on any of these reality shows. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You have a mind for strategy and gameplay, and all the shows have some form of that in it. Well, I do appreciate that. Here's what I think. I think maybe what I've figured out is that all of these game shows have their own unique set of rules. Whether you're talking Traitors, I haven't talked about that yet. Whether you're talking about Traitors, Survivor, Big Brother, whatever, they all have their own strategy. But at the end of it, they all have one strategy in common, and that's the social game. To some extent, sometimes you have to play a little differently. But I went into Big Brother knowing that I wasn't going to be the comp beast. How cool would that be? But I knew that wasn't going to be the case. So I had to rely on the social game. And so because of that, I feel like I can read people. I'm not sure if that's the case. Read people better than others. I'm just more focused maybe on understanding some of the other people. Maybe it's because I'm a salesman as well. And so that's what I do in my real day-to-day life. So I appreciate the positive comments on that. And it is fun. You know what I do like about talking about these other shows is the fact that I get to meet, and I've met some of the people that have participated in these other shows. So I have gotten a chance to pick their brains a little bit. We're talking Mardi Gras. I just talked to, where's Wallington? James and can't remember their names, who won Amazing Race a few seasons ago. They had to finish it up by eating like 20,000 king cakes in New Orleans. And he actually sent a thing over to me and mentioned this show and my recap I'd done on their Amazing Race. And I said, I'll never look at king cakes the same way again. And they had a difficult time driving stick shifts. I said, y'all really dominated, except for driving stick shifts. And he wrote back, said, yeah, we're never driving stick shift again in our entire lives. But I've gotten a chance to meet them at some of the charity events and things like that. That's always cool, meeting other people that are also in the reality world, but different shows, different hosts, things like that. So, no, thank you for the comments. I do appreciate it. All right. Let's see. Chaz is saying, what were your votes? Oh, yeah. Let's talk about what were your votes for Survivor 50. a final four final four remaining. Live reunion, rice or no rice. Yeah, I forgot about that. And Ma is saying live reunion, please. And Chaz is saying yes. All right, let me see if I can remember, because I did vote, and I'm glad you brought that up. This is not obviously not for this season because it's already filmed, but when they film season 50 next fall, I guess it'll have to be next fall, right? So this is 48. Yeah, they're filming, I guess, 49 right now, plus or minus. And then next fall, our votes will come into play. Color of the tribes, whatever. I didn't care about that. I voted for whatever the brightest colors were, I think. As far as rice or no rice, I said no rice. They're only out there for 29 days. Let them go hungry a little bit, says the guy who got fed the whole time he did his show. But yeah, let them have to go out there and scavenge for food a little bit. I'd like to see them a little hungry, where maybe there's some trade-offs where you either get food or you get comfort, things like that. So I voted no rice. I voted live reunion, and I voted, was it final four versus three or something? I don't remember exactly how it was structured. I voted old school. I want it to be a final two. I said last week, I'm not always a huge fan of the fire making. I get it. And theoretically there's more strategy and all that, but I'm okay just having right up to the very end people getting voted out, and then you have the final two at the very end to do it, or even the final three, but you don't go to the fire making segment. I voted old school on that. Was there a vote on whether you want two tribes or three? That may just be my wishful thinking, because I'd like to see two tribes of 9 people or two tribes of 8 people, one or the other, as opposed to the 3 tribes. Not because I think it's better or worse. I see merits on both sides, but just to shake things up a little bit. Just because everyone expects to be in a tribe of 3, I'd like to see them come in and get a little bit bigger tribe to start with, and see how that changes some people's gameplays and everything else. It'd be interesting to see. But no, I voted old school, so no rice and live reunion. Do it the way they used to do it. You don't have to do it forever, but just do a couple of seasons. Go back to some of the old ways that they used to do Survivor, and let's see how the new generation of Survivor players, see how they do playing the old school Survivor game. I think that'd be a fun little experiment there. We'll see that. Tracy says, I'm always shocked that people can't swim and apply to Survivor. That's actually scary. Tell me about it. I guarantee you, if I'm going on Survivor, I know how to swim. I actually feel like I'm a very strong swimmer. And boating, I feel very comfortable out on the water, but I'm going to be practicing my fire making skills. I'm going to be practicing my knot tying, my knot untying. I'm going to do everything possible. But of everything that you could possibly do, if you don't know how to swim, how do you not? I would not come out of the water. I would be in that water until I look like the latest incarnation of the Little Mermaid. I would absolutely be growing fins by the time I got done with this stuff. Yeah, that always amazes me a little bit. But I always forget too. I grew up in Texas. I grew up in the suburbs, but we would go out and swim in rivers and do canoeing and things like that. I know I'd sometimes forget that there's some people that grew up in the big city and never had the same chances to get out and do swimming and all that. So it's easy for me to say. But yeah, it always amazes me that some people just not that good at swimming. And I'm sure production, I don't know, at some point I would guess production says, hey, how good are you at swimming? If you say, God, I'm horrible. Do you think they just say, oh, ding, there you go. Yeah, you're on the show. I wouldn't put it past them. And talking about conspiracy theories, I'm sure they're always looking for ways to stir the pot up, so to speak. And having someone who's not so good a swimmer, it's probably not a bad way to do that sometimes. But I always feel sorry for those people, because they want to do well, and it's just hard. Very hard. All right. Ticeman 1000 said, tried applying to Big Brother this year. Didn't get a call back. So going to an open call next year, since I'll be finished with college. Well, I think that's a fantastic idea. Chaz is saying, keep trying, send a video every year for a few years, or send a video. Yeah, keep trying. Absolutely. Tyson says, I already have a strategy if I got in the house. Well, there you go. Now, here's the thing. Come in with a strategy, but don't be so set on that strategy, that you're not willing to change it if situations change. You may get in there. It may be like some seasons where you have two balanced alliances. You may have one big one that you're a part of, that you're not a part of. There's so many things that you've got to be ready to just pivot on a dime if you have to do it. But I will say this: when I went into casting, I had to talk to a bunch of folks, as you can imagine. Yeah, I'm talking to producers and CBS executives. Every time it's its own kind of scary when you're sitting in a room with bright lights on you and there's 30 or 40 people surrounding you, listening to everything you say. And you know that these are the big wigs of the big wigs that are watching. So you got to be prepared for that. But I do remember being asked multiple times, hey, Cliff, you may be one of the older castmates at the house. Yeah, really? I didn't say that. It gotta be nice, but I said, so with that in mind, do you have a strategy? How are you going to play this game? So I certainly was asked a lot of times about what am I going to do? And I think it helped that I very much had a strategy in mind. I said from the very beginning, I'm going to find someone who looks like a strong player, comp wise, that's also a very charismatic player that everyone seems to like. And I'm going to latch on to he or she as soon as possible and promise all kinds of loyalty in exchange for them keeping me around for a little bit. And I did that with Jackson and Nikki. And again, maybe I did a little too long, but that was part of my strategy going in. And I think that the casting folks like to know that I had thought of this beforehand, that I wasn't just going to just hang out and enjoy the pool. And yeah, it probably works for some people that may have a certain value as the eye candy of the season. Not so much me. But yeah, I think that helped doing that. As far as sending in the videos and all that, yeah, I think Chaz is right. Send one in every year. They'll look at it every year, and you may sometimes it has nothing to do with you. It just doesn't quite work in terms of how the people come into, how everyone matches up. But sometimes it just depends on whoever's watching your video. Have they had a bad day? Are you the last one they're watching and they're just ready to get home and watch Wheel of Fortune or something? It could be something completely outside your ability to control or influence. And so, yeah, send it in every single year. It's certainly not going to help or hurt. And it'll give you good practice. So when you do get that call, you're that much more prepared to go out and speak to a lot of these people and all that. And then the other thing too, is you mentioned, Tyson, doing a casting call. I feel like if I had sent in a video, I may not have gotten picked. I truly feel like I'd stand out more when I'm face to face with someone and I'm getting to interact with someone else, where they're saying something and I'm coming back with some kind of goofy dad joke or comment or things like that, where there's a lot of give and take. I think that's where I maybe shined a little bit more. Whereas if I'd had to film a video and I'm just up there talking, I don't know that I don't know it would have gone as well. And that's why I love when I do these shows on Monday nights. I got y'all and y'all's comments over here. I know I talk probably too long sometimes, but I've got y'all's comments to respond to and to change up topics and stay fresh and all that. And I think that's what does better. So yeah, if there's a casting call that you can go hit as well, try it, because some people do better at one versus the other. And we all have our strengths and weaknesses. So whatever it takes, right? And enjoy the fun of doing it, whether you get on or not. All right, Tracy's saying, Big Brother, the most wonderful time of the year. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. My television literally exists to watch Big Brother. Well, I guarantee you my Paramount Plus subscription exists strictly to watch Big Brother. Chaz is saying, Cliff, you and me in the house together for Big Brother 30. Final deal? Final two deal? Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got it. Now, if you hear that I made the same final two deal with 15 other people, don't believe them. Yeah, it's you and me to the very end. Yeah. Oh God, if I ever got so lucky to go back in that house and someone came up to me, you want to take advantage of it. You want to just kill me. Just come up and say, "Oh, I listen to Cliff Notes Live." I'll buy it hook, line, and sinker, and I will fall on the sword any day of the week plus Tuesdays to make sure that you get to the very end, just because you knew the magic password or whatever. Yeah, no, we would we'd have fun. I have always thought if I was to go back into Big Brother or some other game show, Survivor or whatever, I guess Traitors too. Would I align with the same kind of people? Would there be a new version of Nicole that I would find? Is that who I tend to gravitate towards, or would it be someone completely different that maybe I would work with, depending on the situations? And I don't know. I think there's a part of me uh, that likes working with other underdogs. And I very much saw Ovi and Nicole in the beginning as a bit of an underdog. And I felt like common bonds and all of that. And there's a part of me that thinks I would do that again. But on the other hand, there are other people from my season in a different world. In a different world, I could easily see myself working with Tommy and Christy, for example. Both huge, passionate fans of Big Brother. I would gravitate to them because of that. Also, didn't work out because they wanted to be at the cool kids, and I guess I wasn't one of the cool kids. But I spent a lot of time trying to work with them, and it didn't work out. But I could see myself doing something like that as well. But yeah, you got to be very flexible when you get into these games. All right, Cindy is saying, got an A on my short story for fiction writing class. Woo! All right, well, we got the screenwriter in the show, right? Congratulations. That's being a writer is so incredible. Maybe I'll do that after I retire someday. I may have to hit you up for some hints, Cindy. And it's so funny to say that. Y'all know what my absolute worst subject in grade school was? Well, in middle school as well. Not English. I enjoyed reading and all that grammar. You asked me to not conjugate. I don't know. I have break down verbs and adjectives and all that. I hated doing that stuff. I ending words with prepositions and all. I don't care. But yeah, I don't know how good a writer I'd be. I'd have to get some pointers. So Cindy, be ready because I may have to chase you down with you. Oh, congratulations. A's sound very, very good to me. So yeah, let me know when the books come out or the screenplays. I'm ready for them. All right, Mark is saying, what's one word to describe your Big Brother experience? I could make it easy and just say experience. One word to describe it. God, I don't spend the whole rest of the thing thinking about that. I could say amazing, but then that treads into other things. I'll just take and I feel like I want to say overwhelming, but it wasn't. It was just awe-inspiring. Can that count as well? Maybe I'll go with something like that. I just fortunate. How about just the word fortunate? The whole time I was in there, I never lost sight of the fact that I was a 53-year-old guy who spent his whole life working. Just, I've done some travels around the world and done some wild and crazy stuff. But at the same time, I'm just a guy with a wife and a couple of kids, 9-to-5 job, who suddenly one summer got the chance to go hang out by a swimming pool and do silly tasks and challenges for the chance to win $500,000 while a bunch of cameras were trained on me. And I got to wear lederhosen while I was at it as well. So I'm going to go with fortunate. I never lost light of the fact that thousands and thousands of people tried out for that show. And somehow I'm the guy that managed to get on there. So I absolutely was grateful for the experience. I don't use the word grateful anymore because of the Grateful Eight Alliance and all that. So I'll just stay with fortunate. But I never lost sight of that, and I was indeed fortunate. And I would have loved to have won at the very end, but I was fortunate to get on the show. I was fortunate to make it to jury. I was fortunate to make it to Final Four and just come so close. And I was fortunate to get to meet so many cool people in the house, and now afterwards to meet so many cool people on Monday nights and elsewhere. So I always knew I was a fortunate man. My family is what it's all about. But beyond that, I also have a lot of fortune with some of the weird life experiences I've gotten to live over the last few years. So I'll stick with fortunate. Took me a while to get there, but I'll stick with fortunate. Wow, 7:56, so quick. All right, Chaz, are you enjoying the Challenge All-Star Rivals? Fessy and Amber are the favorites to win. Here's the deal. We watched the first episode or two We forgot to record it. I didn't have it on the DVR. I found it out on, I don't remember where we're watching it, Paramount or whatever streaming service. We tried to watch it, but there are so many commercials and they are so long that we both got just a little bit irritated and said, yeah, forget it. If they don't want us to actually watch the show, if they want us to watch 15 minutes of commercials just to watch 5 minutes worth of the show itself, maybe we'll just wait. So no, I'm not watching it. I'm excited for Fessy and Amber. I've met both of them. I've met Fessy quite a few times. I've met Amber a couple of times. Both, I like them. I think they're both very good people. And so, yeah, I'm excited to hear that. But no, I'm behind on it. I'll have to catch up after season at this point. I'll do that. Yeah, we didn't even talk about Traitors. What do y'all think about that? We're getting so close. And they left us hanging on a cliffhanger. Real quick spoiler alert. We won't talk about forever, but real quick spoiler. How can they not show whether Danielle goes home or not? I blew me away. I knew it was going to happen, but yeah, we're going to see on the next episode if we've got one or two traitors that are left. But I've so loved this season. It's been a lot of fun. The seer power, I wasn't real sure. Angie had told me, Angie Hung had mentioned this. I don't know if it worked as well as I thought. I think it maybe should have gotten used a little earlier in the season. I think it could have been more effective, but it is what it is. We'll talk about Traitors a little bit more next week because we should be at the very end, right? Pretty much. They got some good game players in this deal, so I'm looking forward to that. All right, let's see. What else do we have on here? Ma, Jane, Colleen want 39 days back. Oh, I do too. I saw a conversation with Jeff Probst, and he said, yeah, that's not going to happen. That there's too much in terms of scheduling, and I don't know. It comes down to money. I forget whatever else he may say. It comes down to money. If it takes 26 days instead of 39 days, that's 2 weeks left of a whole lot of people out on location having to work on the CBS dime. And so from a money standpoint, they'll never do that. But Lord, 26 days. I hadn't even got booted from the house in Big Brother in 26 days. I was still floating around thinking I was fine and dandy. I didn't get booted till day number 30. And that was so easy early in the Big Brother season. So yeah, I wish it was 39 days too, but it's not going to happen. It's just not unless you have. Now, how cool would this be? And then we'll move on. How cool would it be if they had one season of Survivor that it was Big Brother format instead of Survivor? In other words, it was filmed live. You had cameras out there following these people around all the time for 3 months or so. Let's see how you do with or without rice after 3 months and out in the sun and the cold and everything else for 3 months. That would be tough. That would, there's all kinds of reasons. I know that will never happen, but how cool would it be if you could actually watch live feeds of Survivor one spring or fall and get to know these players so much more than we get to know with this 1.5 hour episode per week? I'm in. I'd be watching that thing. It'd be so incredible. All right. Tracy's saying, worst part of Big Brother for me, the bathroom situation. Yeah, the bathroom wasn't great, but you get used to it. You know, my worst situation was not the bathroom, the lack of the outdoor. Now, the worst is not having communication with the outside world, your family and all that. But within the Big Brother game itself, my worst part was only having the backyard for a couple of days a week. You just get, I don't know, what's the opposite of agoraphobic or whatever? Cabin fever, I guess. You're in there. There were times where I would have done anything just to have a window that I could look out and see something that was going on. If you sat in the living room, looked up, you could see a couple of holes in the roof surrounding like a chain for a chandelier and things like that, or lighting. And you could see the metal roof of the studio outside. There are times where I would look and just try to see if I could see a little hole in that roof, because I thought once that I could see a little bit of hint of blue. And it's like being in a maximum security prison and thinking that suddenly you found a little escape hole or something. I mean, being trapped inside with nothing to do except talk to the same people, the boredom, I guess is the short word for it. The boredom was even worse than the bathroom situation, in my opinion. All right, 801. I think we're going to shut it down. Chaz is saying, Can't believe Traitors left us on a cliffhanger. Do you think Brittany did it? You know, Brittany and Danielle did not have the most perfect relationship before. Would Brittany not do it in order to tighten the bond, or would she just say, "Nah, screw it. It's all for me"? I love Danielle. I've met her before. She's incredibly nice, but there's a part of me that kind of wants Brittany to cut her loose only for the drama and the chaos that it would cause. Do I think she did it? My gut tells me no. My heart kind of is saying it'd be interesting to see if she did it. I don't know. We've had other seasons where there was one traitor left, right? So if I was a betting man, well, I know we got shut down. If I was a betting man, did she do it or not? I think she did. I think she did. I think she cut Danielle loose, which is going to create all kinds of fireworks between those two. We'll find out next Thursday, I guess. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to shut it down. I'll finish up with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love you guys out here as well. As I said earlier, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, and hitting the old thumbs up. Always appreciated. Guys, have a fantastic week. Tomorrow's Mardi Gras. Get your partying in, and then you can still hang out the rest of the week anyway. But I will see y'all next Monday. More Survivor, more Traitors, more everything going on. So until next Monday, have a great one, my friends. I will see y'all then. SKD 143. La bonne nouvelle. I can't ever say it, French word. Y'all have a good week. Bye.